There's a bright yellow spice sitting in millions of kitchens right now, and most people sprinkle it on food without realizing it's one of the most researched natural ingredients on the planet. We're talking about turmeric. Scientists have studied compounds inside this spice thousands of times, looking at how it might affect the brain, heart, inflammation levels, and even mood. But here's the real question. What actually happens to your body if you start taking turmeric every single day? Because the answer might surprise you. In this video, we're breaking down 7 ways turmeric could impact your body, plus one huge mistake almost everyone makes when using it that can completely cancel out the benefits. So before you add another pinch to your food, you'll definitely want to hear this. Turmeric isn't some trendy health fad that just popped up on the internet last year. This golden spice has been used for thousands of years in traditional medicine and cooking across different cultures. But recently, modern science started taking a much closer look at what makes turmeric so special. And the star of the show is a powerful compound inside it called curcumin. Curcumin is what gives turmeric its bold golden color, but more importantly, it's the compound researchers believe may be responsible for many of its potential health effects. Today, we're diving into 7 fascinating things that may happen to your body when turmeric becomes part of your daily routine, from your brain and heart to your joints and even your mood. And stick around until the end, because there's one crucial mistake most people make when taking turmeric that can make it almost useless. Once you hear it, you'll never use turmeric the same way again. Let's start with something incredible, which is your brain. Think about it. Your brain controls everything you do. Your memories, your decisions, your personality, even the way you move and speak. But as we get older, the brain naturally faces wear and tear. One of the biggest problems scientists focus on today is chronic inflammation in the brain. When inflammation builds up over time, it may contribute to memory problems and cognitive decline. This is where turmeric starts getting serious attention. The active compound in turmeric, curcumin, has powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Researchers believe these properties may help protect brain cells from damage caused by inflammation and oxidative stress. In simple terms, curcumin may act like a protective shield for your brain cells, helping them stay healthier for longer. Some studies have even looked at how curcumin affects memory and cognitive performance. In certain research involving older adults, participants who took curcumin regularly showed improvements in memory and attention compared to those who didn't. Now, that doesn't mean turmeric is a miracle cure or that it can prevent serious brain diseases. But the possibility that something as simple as a kitchen spice could support brain health has scientists extremely interested. And honestly, that's pretty wild. But the brain isn't the only organ turmeric might help protect. Because the next benefit involves something that beats over 100,000 times every single day, your heart. Your heart is basically the hardest working muscle in your body. It beats around 100,000 times a day, pumping blood through nearly 60,000 miles of blood vessels. That's like driving across the entire planet, every single day. So anything that supports heart health automatically gets scientists interested. And turmeric is one spice that keeps popping up in heart health research. One of the biggest threats to your heart is chronic inflammation and poor blood vessel function. When blood vessels become stiff or inflamed, it can make it harder for blood to flow smoothly, increasing the risk of heart problems over time. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, appears to help by supporting the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium. This lining plays a key role in controlling blood pressure and circulation. When it functions properly, your blood flows smoothly. When it doesn't, things can start going downhill. Some research also suggests turmeric may help reduce platelet clumping. In simple terms, platelets are tiny blood cells that help form clots. While clotting is important for healing wounds, too much clotting can increase the risk of dangerous blockages. Curcumin may help keep things balanced, supporting smoother circulation. Think of it like helping the traffic inside your arteries move a little more freely. But heart health is only part of the story, because the next area where turmeric has caught scientists' attention might surprise you even more. And it involves one of the most researched diseases in the world, cancer. Now this next one is where turmeric really caught the attention of researchers around the world. Over the past few decades, scientists have been digging deep into turmeric's active compound, curcumin, trying to understand how it interacts with the human body at the cellular level. And the amount of research is honestly pretty staggering. There are thousands of scientific papers examining curcumin and its potential effects on inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular damage, three major factors that scientists often study when it comes to cancer development. Here's why this matters. Inside your body, cells are constantly dividing and repairing themselves. Most of the time, this process works perfectly. But when cells become damaged or start behaving abnormally, it can lead to uncontrolled growth. That's essentially how cancer begins. Curcumin has been widely studied for its strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, which may help the body combat certain types of cellular stress and damage. Some laboratory and early-stage studies suggest curcumin may influence processes related to cell growth, inflammation, and oxidative stress. But here's the important part: researchers are very clear about this. Turmeric is not a cure for cancer, and it should never replace medical treatment. What scientists are exploring is whether compounds like curcumin could play a supportive role in overall health and possibly help protect cells from certain types of damage. And that's exactly why turmeric continues to be studied so heavily. But turmeric's potential effects don't stop at physical health. Because the next benefit might surprise you. And it has to do with something millions of people struggle with every single day. Mood. Now here's something most people never expect from a spice in their kitchen. Turmeric may also have an interesting connection to mental health and mood. Over the last few years, scientists have been exploring something called the inflammation-depression link. The idea is that chronic inflammation in the body doesn't just affect your joints or heart, it may also influence how the brain functions. When inflammation levels stay elevated for long periods, it can affect important brain chemicals that regulate mood, motivation, and emotional balance. And that's where curcumin enters the conversation again. Because curcumin has strong anti-inflammatory properties, researchers started wondering whether reducing inflammation might also support mental well-being. Some studies have explored how curcumin supplementation may affect symptoms of depression. In certain cases, participants who took curcumin showed improvements in mood compared to those who didn't. Scientists believe this may be connected to several factors. Curcumin appears to influence inflammation, oxidative stress, and even certain brain signaling pathways related to mood regulation. In other words, it may help create a healthier internal environment for the brain. But let's be very clear about something. Turmeric is not a replacement for professional mental health treatment or prescribed medication. Mental health conditions are complex and should always be managed with guidance from qualified professionals. However, the growing research around curcumin and mood is definitely catching attention in the scientific world. And if you think that's interesting, the next benefit might be even more practical for everyday life. Because if you've ever stood up and felt your knees crack, your joints ache, or your back feel stiff, turmeric might be worth paying attention to. If you've ever stood up after sitting for a while and felt your knees complain, you know how frustrating joint pain can be. For millions of people, especially as they get older, stiff joints and inflammation become a daily struggle. Simple things like climbing stairs, bending down, or even getting out of bed can start to feel like a workout. One of the biggest drivers behind joint pain and arthritis is, you guessed it, inflammation. When joints become inflamed, they can swell, feel stiff, and lose some of their natural mobility. Over time, this inflammation can make everyday movement uncomfortable. And this is exactly why turmeric has become so interesting to researchers studying joint health. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is known for its strong anti-inflammatory properties. Instead of simply masking pain, it may help reduce some of the inflammatory signals in the body that contribute to joint discomfort. Several studies have compared turmeric or curcumin supplements to common anti-inflammatory medications used for arthritis. In some cases, participants reported similar improvements in joint pain and mobility. Now that doesn't mean turmeric replaces medications prescribed by doctors. But it does suggest that this golden spice may help support joint comfort for some people when used properly. Think of it like helping calm down the internal fire of inflammation that can make joints feel stiff and painful. But joint pain isn't the only common health issue turmeric might influence. Because the next one involves a condition that's growing rapidly all around the world. Blood sugar problems. Now let's talk about something affecting hundreds of millions of people worldwide: blood sugar. Your body relies on a hormone called insulin to move sugar from your bloodstream into your cells, where it can be used for energy. But when the body stops responding properly to insulin, a problem called insulin resistance can begin to develop. Over time, this can lead to chronically high blood sugar levels and eventually increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And this is where turmeric started gaining attention in metabolic health research. Scientists studying curcumin have found that it may help influence several factors connected to blood sugar control. Some research suggests it may help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are known to play a role in insulin resistance. There's also evidence suggesting curcumin may help support the function of pancreatic cells, the cells responsible for producing insulin in the first place. Think of these pancreatic cells like workers in a factory producing insulin. When those workers are stressed or damaged, insulin production can drop. But when they function well, blood sugar control becomes much easier for the body. Curcumin may help support that system by creating a healthier environment for those cells to operate. Of course, turmeric alone is not a diabetes treatment, and managing blood sugar always requires proper medical guidance, diet, and lifestyle adjustments. But the research surrounding turmeric's role in metabolic health is definitely gaining attention. And now we move to something doctors check in millions of blood tests every year: cholesterol. Now let's talk about something that shows up on almost every routine blood test: cholesterol. Most people have heard about the two main types. LDL, often called the bad cholesterol, can build up inside the walls of your arteries. Over time, this buildup can narrow the arteries and make it harder for blood to flow properly. Then there's HDL, the good cholesterol. Its job is basically to act like a cleanup crew, helping carry excess cholesterol away from the arteries and back to the liver, where it can be processed. So ideally, you want lower LDL and higher HDL. And interestingly enough, turmeric might have a role to play here, too. Some studies suggest that curcumin may help influence cholesterol levels by supporting a healthier lipid balance in the body. Researchers have observed that curcumin may help reduce total cholesterol levels while supporting increases in HDL, the protective kind. Another possible reason behind this effect is, once again, inflammation. Chronic inflammation can contribute to damage inside blood vessels, which may make cholesterol buildup more likely. Because curcumin helps fight inflammation, it may indirectly support better cardiovascular health. Think of it like helping keep the highways inside your body cleaner and less congested. But before you rush to dump turmeric on everything you eat, there's something extremely important you need to know. Because here's the problem. Most people are taking turmeric completely the wrong way. And that mistake might mean they're barely getting any of its benefits at all. Here's the part that trips up almost everyone. You sprinkle turmeric on your food, maybe sip a golden latte now and then, and think you're good to go. But the truth? Most of that curcumin barely gets absorbed by your body. Curcumin is naturally hard for your body to absorb, which means taking it alone can give you only a fraction of its potential benefits. But there's a simple trick that changes everything. Black pepper, yep, just a pinch of black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which can increase curcumin absorption by up to 2000%. Healthy fats. Curcumin is fat-soluble, so taking turmeric with olive oil, coconut milk, or other healthy fats helps your body absorb it better. Without these, you might be taking turmeric every day, and barely getting anything out of it. So, if you want to really see the potential benefits, brain, heart, joints, mood, and more, this little pairing is key. Remember, it's not just about taking turmeric. It's about taking it smart. And speaking of taking it smart, let's quickly cover who should be careful before adding turmeric to their routine. Before you start loading up on turmeric like it's candy, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. Even though it's natural, turmeric isn't automatically safe for everyone. Blood thinners. Because curcumin can act like a mild blood thinner, it may increase the risk of bleeding if you're already taking medications like warfarin or aspirin. Gallbladder issues. Turmeric can sometimes stimulate the gallbladder, which could be problematic if you have gallstones or other gallbladder conditions. Pregnancy. High doses aren't recommended during pregnancy. Stick to normal culinary amounts unless your doctor advises otherwise. Digestive sensitivity. Some people experience nausea, bloating, or mild stomach upset if they take too much turmeric at once. The golden rule here? Check with your healthcare provider before starting daily supplements, especially if you're on medication or have existing health conditions. Once you know it's safe for you, the next step is learning how to make turmeric a practical and tasty part of your everyday routine.